It came to pass in the days of Achashverosh, the very same Achashverosh, who ruled from Hodu to Kush, 127 provinces, including Los Angeles.
Welcome to California, a land overflowing with excellent produce, really great burritos, and many palm trees. Hi, I am Vashti. You may recognize me from my carving on the Sushan Gate debut and a few commercials. This was going to be my big break, Queen of Persia, the sequel to Prince of Persia. The producer, Haman, swore it would do so much better at the box offices because Persia's biggest movie star, King Achashverosh, was going to be in it. Yes, the King Achashverosh. You've heard of him, of course.
I got a little burned out from the film industry. It's just so commercialized and fake. And there's only so long you could sit around in a superhero costume without getting bored.
Yeah, and that's why I had the stroke of genius. I mean, I'm good at my job. I cast Vashti as Queen of Persia. She's super hot. If that doesn't keep Achashverosh happy, I don't know what's going to keep him happy.
It looked like King Achashverosh was standing around with someone else at first. And then I saw her running away screaming, like that wasn't some kind of a red flag.
We were on the beach discussing the scene, workshopping, like maybe I come out of the water like a god. Or maybe I descend from heaven on a beam of sunlight. Or maybe everyone bows down to me and the entire scene is just my face.
All right. I need everyone to focus. Today, we're going to film the topless scene.
What? Topless scene? That's not in my contract.
Vashti's contract wasn't worth the clay it was written on.
No problem, I'll do it.
Vashti's topless scene was definitely in Achashverosh's contract.
It's important to our artistic vision, you know, not to mention the ratings on Rotten Pomegranate. And here's the thing, Vashti, you either do it or you're fired.
Seriously? I tried to play it cool. I mean, I had to keep composed this whole time since I was dealing with the king, even with a pretty crazy one. Then I noticed that a crowd of people had gathered around us, and I hoped they had recognized me from my movie star career. But then everyone started pushing and shoving and asking for the autograph of King Achashverosh. Go figure.
My adoring public couldn't get enough of me. At that moment, I had a brilliant idea. And I did think that my PR agent might even have backed me up on this one. The idea was to throw a party right then and there. I called out to the nearby beach shack. A round of drinks on me. Wasn't that such an original idea?
Is that when the DJ comes in? Is that when the DJ comes in? No, I'm sorry.
Everyone was cheering, and then they got rowdy. Right then and there, I decided I didn't care about being a movie star anymore. So I posted a picture of the drunk king on Instagram with the caption, "This party is so lame, I'm going to enroll in rabbinical school right now." Also, I texted Haman, I quit. And then I just left and never looked back.
Let the girl who finds favor in the king's eyes become the queen in Vashti's stead.
California was nice and all, but my gut told me to head to Montreal. I mean, literally, my gut told me to head to Montreal. The bagels are fantastic. And I knew that might keep Achashverosh occupied maybe for 30 seconds.
When Vashti quit, the bagels were seriously in trouble.
Hello, everyone. We're the after party, live from Brazil. Woohoo!
Mauricio, hold it. It's not time for the after party. We're in the middle of the story here. Just hold on, okay?
Okay,
Hold
man,
on.
whatever you say.
Stop smoking what you're smoking.
We needed a star, and quickly, preferably one with an agent who didn't read contracts too closely. And I sent a call out to all the corners of the kingdom. Beautiful virgin, needed for be queen. Salary commensurate with literacy, virginity, and acting experience. Virginity, literacy, and acting experience not required.
When I heard about the call for beautiful virgins to appear in Queen of Persia, I was so not interested. These days, I'm really busy testing recipes for my new cookbook, and it's tough to maintain a set of clean and pristine nails. They always look at your nails, don't ask. Then I got a call from cousin Mordechai, my PR agent.
Yeah, so I told my niece Esther she'd be like fabulous as the set caterer, you know? There was no way she was going to agree to audition for an action movie, but I knew I could just get her in the door. If I could just get her in the door, Haman and Achashverosh would have to cast her. No, I'm not biased or anything. It was truly my professional opinion only. It had nothing to do with our mother.
That Esther was gorgeous. I mean, seriously, she was hot. At least those cookies she fed me were hot cookies. Who could resist that?
Yes, I did feed Haman and King Achashverosh some cookies at my interview. I had some hamantaschen around. I totally was already qualified to be set caterer, but I was trying out hamantaschen recipes to decide which one to bake at our next workshop. So I had a lot of them around. When it says I found favor in the eyes of all who saw me, it most certainly means in their stomachs.
Mordechai was sitting at the king's gate.
We shot the honeymoon scene in Philadelphia. Yes, I do know there's no honeymoon scene in Queen of Persia. Ultimately, it got cut. It's a sore subject. Anyway, Philadelphia happens to be where Esther's uncle Mordechai is from. So she had fond memories of the place.
Esther had never been there before in her life.
The crew rented this huge Airbnb, which was great for the budget because they're really cheap right now.
I was really excited they were shooting a scene in my hometown, Philadelphia. I know, I'm from like the Brooklyn part of Philadelphia. So excited that I decided to go there myself. Okay, so I'm a little bit nosy. No one ever said what happens in Philadelphia stays in Philadelphia, right? That's like not a thing. I don't think so. Anyway, one day I was hanging around outside their Airbnb and I noticed two paparazzi approaching. It looked like they were foaming at the mouth, like they had rabies or something. They seemed almost homicidal. So I texted Esther, suggesting maybe they not just go out just then. You can never be too cautious.
Achashverosh insisted on personally thanking Uncle Mordechai. Cousin Mordechai. I mean, my PR agent, and saying he would remember his good deed in the future. He could be all right as a king sometimes.
Haman sought to annihilate all the Jews, Mordechai's people, throughout Achashverosh's entire kingdom.
Hey, it's up for after party!
Mauricio, hold it. It's not time yet. Please, let us get through this story, okay? There's much more to the story.
What a life. I was so pleased that Haman finally coughed up the budget for us to shoot the beach scenes in Mallorca. Some wine, some paella, and everyone's got that sexy Eurotrash thing going on. Perfection.
My father, Mordechai, came running up to me, telling me he had to talk to me. I was kind of busy. I was making bagel sandwiches for lunch, but he said it was really important.
Lunch? Oh, right. Apparently that girl still thought she was a set caterer. Well, she's not the brightest bulb in the, Anyway, I had bigger problems. I overheard Haman. Yes, I know. I'm a little nosy. We already went over that. Haman was screaming at the crew that he was going to dock the wages of anyone whose ancestry had Jewish blood.
We started having budget problems, or did we? I mean, I tried to make it seem like we didn't. I am really good at my job, you know, but Achashverosh kept buying all this useless tech, remote control selfie sticks, the banners flying out of the plane so you can see them on the beach. He thought we needed some PR, but the point is you have to know where to cut corners when you can. And I mean, the Jews are so cheap. We thought it'd be a good place to start.
Mordechai went to talk to the crew immediately after Haman left.
Oh, come on. This is so unfair. We slave for this man, Haman, in the hot sun while he sits on his producer's chair, and now he's not even going to pay us?
The crew all had Jewish roots, some from hundreds of years, back when their families were forcibly converted to Catholicism.
I'm very proud of my Jewish blood, but now it's just getting us persecuted. Yet again, how many times does history have to repeat itself? Come on.
What did this have to do with me? I really have to get on that lunch thing.
I knew this would be difficult for Esther to understand, so I had to break it down for her slowly. Esther, I says, tell me, what's your last name?
I go by Esther Beary, as my PR agent, cousin Mordechai, had actually made me change my last name. He thought I would never make it as Esther Borovich. It sounded way too Jewish.
That's right. Esther was Jewish, and she shouldn't forget that. We had to do something to help.
It starts with cut wages, and then they kill people.
Esther said, if it please the king, let the king and Haman come today to the feast that I have prepared for them.
It was dinner time, and I had put on an amazing spread, as usual, for Achashverosh and Haman. It was my job. They wolfed it down in a few minutes, grunted, and were about to go back to whatever it was they were doing, which was not much, frankly. But then I screwed up my courage, just like Uncle Mordechai had told me to. And I said, with all the finesse and grace I could muster, "You're making a big mistake, Haman."
I was really taken aback by Esther's statement. It came out of nowhere, really. She was usually such a good girl. She didn't fight on the nudity scene.
Nudity scene? What nudity scene? Anyway, I said I knew Haman was docking wages of everyone with Jewish blood, so he better dock mine too.
I was totally down to dock Esther's wages. I mean, we weren't paying her much, but every little bit helps balance the budget.
At first, I didn't get what was going on. Wages, money. I don't really deal with any of that. I'm the king. I'm above it all. So I kind of yawned and shrugged.
I felt like I wasn't getting my point across. It was silent for a minute. Then suddenly I yelled, "Haman is evil and a mediocre movie producer and a bad manager. And also, I'm Jewish."
And that really clicked for me just there. No wonder her food is so delicious. Speaking of food, was there anything for dessert?
Of course there was dessert. In fact, there were 3 different types: an apple cake with nuts and raisins, and a banana cream pie, and oh, what does it matter? I was too upset to serve dessert, so I ran out of the room. Haman chased after me. Actually, it looked like he was going to kill me. I shrieked, which finally got King Achashverosh's attention.
I had to do something to stop that shrieking. It was really terrible. And also off key. So I told Haman that he was evil and a mediocre movie producer and a bad manager. Oh, I also fired him. He had no class. Neither do I. But killing people, I mean, if you're picking people to kill, especially don't kill Esther, her desserts are on point.
So Esther saved the day. Achashverosh promised the crew their wages, though how we could afford to pay them is a different story for a different time. Strangely, Haman, who had been fired from the project, was also attacked by rotten eggs, and no one ever found out where they came from.
Sucker!
At that very moment, I popped up out of nowhere in another disguise. I'm pretty good at doing that because I'm the guy who's always lingering around really awkwardly, really weirdly when you least expect it. And I'm also kind of nosy. Anyway, I asked the king about that favor he once owed me. And I figured, if not now, when? A wise man once told me that once. I forget who.
I owed Mordechai a favor. I was a little fuzzy on the details. It was ages. I mean, several scenes ago. But I was kind of frazzled by everything that just happened, even if that's hard to believe. I know I always appear to be grooving with the flow. Bottom line, I agree.
The favor I asked for was for Achashverosh to fly us all to Brazil for an after party on a non-stop flight, please.
For the Jews, there was light and happiness and joy and prestige.
It's time for the after party.
The after party!
Wait. I heard there's an after party?
We want an after party. We want an after party.
The after party!
Party! Woo!
After party in Brazil!
Yeah, I'll bring the eggs. Woo!
Mazel Chag Purim Sameach!
Oh, it's finally time.
Hold on, let me get into character.